I have to tell you in a little aside, like that project has had me absolutely captivated. Like, no
four
kidding.
years.
For on your channel for however long it's been going on. Like, I
Four
have always been
years.
literally for that many years, it's been me like on my phone whenever like a new episode comes out being like, is she gonna talk about for the rink or the links? Because because I was following it like as if it was like sports. Like
Like a murder mystery.
literally.
The
Because also
next installment.
yeah.
Welcome back to Show and Tell. I'm Billie, and today I'm joined by a guest. Her name is Emma. I don't know if she wants to divulge her last name or not, but it's very cute. It just says Emma on the screen. So,
Oh,
you might want them to find you on Instagram or wherever. So, you may as well tell us your handle and
all
get that out of
right.
the way.
Yeah, my name's Emma Candland. It's just Emma Candland on Instagram. Candyland without the Y's, my last name. So should be pretty easy to find.
Did you get teased about that a lot as a kid?
Um, Not a lot, but some people would call me Candyland, like as kind of a nickname. And then I had one person who would call me Eminem Candyland. So it was like candy. Yeah, I didn't love that, but it's whatever.
Oh, but it's so cute. I mean, now as an adult, I hope you can appreciate just how
Mhm.
very cute that is. When I saw your name, I was like, oh, it's such a cute name, Candyland. Because if you pronounce the D like as a D, Candy Land.
True. Yeah, true.
Anyway, how Emma and I met is a little bit of an unusual story. How long have you been watching my podcast?
Years at this point. I've been watching them ever since I started vintage knitting. I'm just like an obsessive person. So like when I started vintage knitting, of course I looked up everything I could about it on YouTube, on all the social medias, and I found your podcast. So yeah, it's been at least like 4 years or so, five. Yeah.
So when I'm out in the wild, places like the Metropolitan Museum at a movie screening, it's a real shock to me that somebody would recognize me and come over to me and say, "Is your name Billie?" Like, I watch your podcast. It's hardly ever happened, Emma. So I can't tell you how thrilled I was. And then we got to chit-chatting during the intermission between two films. And Emma told me that she knits vintage. So I was like, okay, would you like to come on the podcast and show us your stuff? And she said, yeah. But then she proceeded to embark on moving to another apartment and got bogged down with that, which, by the way, it looks really great. Is that like a black lacquer screen in the background?
It's actually like one of those sort of like kitchen, like it's a Japanese cloth like kitchen divider thing.
Ah,
Yeah, we're still in the process of like setting everything up. I have a print down here I need to put up and like couches and everything. But yeah, it's coming together. It's a nice place, yeah.
are you interested in Japanese stuff?
Yeah, more or less. My boyfriend's half Japanese, so he brings like a fair amount of that kind of culturally to the space. But yeah.
My friend just sold some woodblock prints at auction and they went for a really low price. But I'll see if she has anything else. Like I know she's got books on Japan. But see if there's anything else. She's really clearing out now and by the end of this month she has to be out of the space. So that's an aside. Um, okay, so I think, tell us what made you start doing vintage knitting? Like, I have a reason that's specific to me, my size. I couldn't find things in my size, so I had to make my own. But that's not at all the case for you. You probably have a slim waist. So what's the motivation?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of got into vintage clothing very gradually. I want to say like first started I feel like this happens for a lot of people where like you start shopping secondhand, you start being able to see like pick out really true vintage things. That was in high school for me, and me and my friends were very like we loved like vintage shopping. I'm from San Francisco. There's like a big vintage like scene
State
there and has been
Street.
for a long time. And it's just like a really rich area for for mid-century clothes and stuff like that. So first it was like we were into the 70s and 80s in high school, then you get like a little bit further back and further back and further back, and then I had a period in like early mid college where I got really really into classic film. And so like I just fell in love with like 30s, 40s clothes and I started like being more interested in that and following more people on social media and getting like more into the secondhand like sort of upscale market for that. And I would see like I've always been interested in more like daily wear clothes. Like you can see I'm wearing this like kind of house dress from
Mhm.
the 30s, but as you know, that stuff is kind of the hardest to find because it's been worn and worn. So it's a lot easier to find like I guess evening wear, like more kind of like business fancy buttoned up stuff.
But sometimes you can find dead stock in
That's
those
true. That's
day
true.
dresses, and then they're brand new.
Yeah, totally. Those are always the best to find. But I started seeing sort of like the very few and far between listings for vintage sweaters, right? And they're like so expensive and they have holes because they're actually from the 30s and like they've been worn and played sports in and like moth eaten and stuff. So I just started thinking like, you know, I guess like the only way to get this stuff is to make it. And my mom had taught me to knit when I was a young girl, but funny story, she only taught me the knit stitch and not the purl stitch back then. Because it was kind of just like a one-off thing, and I would like knit these like, squares or whatever and be like, why does knit look like knitting? Like
You
where are
met
the
your
beads?
soulmate. My mommy taught me when I was young too, and she just taught me the knit stitch, and I made little squares.
Yeah,
Garden
and you're like,
stitch.
why is it all bumpy? Like, where's like the V, you know? So I kind of just like didn't pursue that, but I sewed a lot as a kid and as a teenager. So I have like a background in sewing. And I
Mm.
think that's kind of why I gravitate more toward the vintage stuff because it's all like seamed. But we'll get into that later. So anyway, I just was like, well, there must be patterns for this. Let me like get back into knitting. And of course, it was during the pandemic, so a lot of people were getting back into knitting, and it was kind of like in the culture. So yeah, I just bought my first pattern from Vintage Knitting Party, which I think is no longer or in the process of becoming no longer. Sadly, it was a great shop.
That's somebody on
Um,
Etsy.
yeah, I think it was on Etsy, and then she also had her own website. Yeah, I'll talk about her more later when I go into the patterns. But yeah, it was just like a fully ribbed, um, like slip over, like a like a vest or whatever, from the 40s, and just made that up. Of course, it was like way too big for me and like
Mm.
totally off gauge, whatever. But that was like my first ever knitting project. So I've only really ever knit vintage. I've knit a couple of modern patterns here and there, but that's kind of a unique thing to me where like a lot of people have been like modern knitters for a really long time. They get into vintage, but I've only done a couple of modern things here and there. I like where I'm sticking to the vintage. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's a fabulous story that you started straight away into vintage knitting. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's people talk all the time about like how it's a totally different knitting language a lot of ways than modern knitting, and that's definitely true. But I think starting like going straight into vintage knitting kind of gave me like it made it seem like completely normal that they would just be like, okay, now increase. Which way? Like
Doesn't
where on the
matter.
row? Where? And I just like
Mm.
it's not. I was never like I guess searching for those more contemporary ways of doing the thing. It just felt like completely normal.
I'm wondering, now that you mention it, I'm wondering if that's because when you're knitting at a gauge like 9 stitches to the inch, it's really not going to be so noticeable if your increase slants left or right. It's probably not going to be noticeable at all. So like, who cares? Just, do whatever increase. I just wonder if that was the thinking, or if they hadn't finely tuned until Elizabeth Zimmerman came along or something like that. I
Yeah,
don't
totally.
know.
I never thought of that, but yeah, that's funny. In my first couple of sweaters, I didn't know about the different like left or right leaning. And so like they're just all like right or left leaning or whatever, and like you can't barely see it. So that's probably totally one of the reasons, yeah. Um, but yeah, unless there's anything else, we can just go into
Yeah, let's look at
the
the
house
garments
stuff.
because it sounds like you have things that you're going to tell as you show us. So,
Yeah, I'm
That's
kind
the
of gonna do
point.
it in a in a chronological situation. There's a handful of sweaters that are missing, projects that I gave away or whatever, but it'll be roughly chronological, so it'll be
Okay.
interesting that way. Um, so this is my first sweater.
Love
It's
the buttons.
yep. It's there's definitely things wrong with it, but I'm still very proud. I knit this in college. Um, let's see. It's from Good Needlework, September 1937, and I bought the pattern on Etsy for like I think it's still listed as 67 cents.
Cute.
So, great first sweater if you want to get into vintage, I feel like. The yarn is Lang Baby Superwash Fingering. I think it's discontinued at this point, or like it only comes in like crazy colors. I got this yarn at a junk store in San Francisco, for $12 for the entire thing.
When you said, "Oh, there's stuff wrong with it," I think I can't see it, of course, on the screen, but I think it lends itself to looking actually old, not like
Hmm.
something that was just knit last year. And the color also seems very authentic to the period. So it looks like you're wearing the sweater of a woman from 100 years ago, which I think is, a unique twist. Like this, you can clearly tell that I'm using contemporary yarn
Mm.
and the color is like, I'm sure they had this color then, but whites maybe weren't just white
Right, right.
and they would have
Yeah.
yellowed with age.
Yeah, totally. That's so interesting you say that because um I think in all of my sweaters now, I haven't or in all the rest of the sweaters that I've knit, I've never gone for the exact color that was in the pattern. You know how they tell you like it should be blush pink or whatever.
Right.
This is the exact kind of yellow that was the
Um,
pattern. So I definitely like when I was picking out, I got the yarn first and then I picked the pattern out on Etsy. I think when I was picking it out, I was like yellow 1930s sweater or something. So it's like what they recommended, interestingly.
can you put the buttons really close to your camera? They look vintage. I imagine they are.
Mhm.
And can you tell us where you got them, or is that privileged information?
It's definitely not. I got them from Etsy as well. I
Oh,
think they are vintage, but I think they're from the 60s. But I think they suit it very well.
the
Um,
color's just perfect. And
yeah.
that little trim around the edge makes it look really retro. So
Yep. Yeah, I did exactly. Of course, this is my first sweater. This was my first time doing a button placket, button like holes or anything, so I tried to diligently follow exactly what they told me, and it was like a buttonhole kind of loop thing. Yep, you can really see I didn't I just wanted to get to the finish line there.
is it
Got it.
crocheted around the loop?
I think it was like I used the tapestry needle to do like a bunch of like loops around and then I did the buttonhole stitch around it.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have any crochet things at this point in time, I think. This was a joy to knit. I like remember doing it in my college dorm as like a procrastination
To not
project.
study?
Yeah. Um, and yeah, was super duper proud of it. I would make this again, honestly. It's just like a basket weave, and then it has this moss stitch in the center. I don't know if you can see that.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's great. I haven't seen anybody else knit this one. It's a cutie.
I know it is, right? It's like simple, but it's enough to keep you interested because, it has like the moss up on the shoulders here, and then it's sort of there's definitely like a diagonal line, I think, of the down the center. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
very like waist flattering and like it keeps it interesting. And then the other thing that's interesting about this sweater that I didn't know was kind of less common, or I don't know, I guess less common in what I've done since then, is that there's waist shaping increases on the sides, rather than the whole like make one every 9 stitches or whatever, where it just like
Hmm.
increases all at once, which I think is like less
But there's
flattering.
a change in the needle size from
Hmm.
the ribbing.
Yeah.
But it's knit flat. There's a front and a back, and the
Mm-hmm.
sleeves are separate and set in.
Yeah, so it's the sleeves are just these little, small triangle things. And then the collar was knit separate as well, and then it's sewn on.
Yeah, you're saying simple, but I think for a brand new knitter, that would not be simple at all. First of all, brand new knitters are so afraid of, oh, pieces and I have to match a stitch. That's the no big deal. But setting in the sleeve isn't trivial. And then having two different patterns you have to keep track of, and there's no chart.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to keep track of where you are, and the pattern is something like, knit seven, purl two, knit seven, or whatever, and you have to make sure that you're doing it the right number of times so that the center panel has the different pattern in it. So, yes, for me,
Yeah,
that would be, I wouldn't say easy. I would have to pay attention. I wouldn't be
yeah,
doing that necessarily on the subway.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. There's a bit to keep track of. I think my sewing background really helped with the like I didn't really flinch at the setting and sleeve things because I've done it,
Right,
with my
right.
stuff like that. And I've come to really prefer a flat knitted pattern.
And you didn't have to adjust the stitch
Yes.
count or any of that. So that
Yeah.
already takes off a whole layer of complexity that the rest of us have to deal with.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, I didn't have to do that in this pattern. I do think that if somebody wanted to get into sort of like grading up patterns, this would be a cool one to do because it's very like the I guess the repeat like isn't it's not huge. Like you don't have to worry about like, oh, if I
right,
add this many. Um, and then it also has like the waist shaping, so that could be definitely like tailored to the
right.
fit. But yeah, definitely. That is a good thing to note that for most of these I haven't had to do major things.
Hmm.
There's a couple that somehow something happened or whatever, but yeah, definitely.
And then the collar, it's an extra piece of knitting. It's not like you're done when you finish the front, back, and the two sleeves. No, you still have the collar, and then you have those button loops. So those extra little add-on things are what vintage knitters find exciting and fun, but they are, a little step up.
Yeah. I actually remember the collar giving me a lot of trouble because I started sewing it on and like how you kind of want or how like when you do a mattress stitch thing there's going to be this edge and I had like put it on the other side like so it would have been showing here and then I was like, "Ah, I got to rip this out."
And they
And
don't
then
tell you, like, they don't tell
no.
you, like, right side facing, attach the collar from right to left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they
So,
would in a contemporary pattern, usually.
yeah.
Yes, I've run into that situation once myself, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And it can be really annoying.
Yeah. There's also a very slight dye lot difference in this one that I don't know, I don't really concern myself with that. It's like if someone notices, that's their deal, but
Can't tell
can't
from
tell.
this. Mm-mm.
The color is actually a different dye lot, but you probably can't tell in the
Well, you know
picture.
what? If you have two different dialots, that would be the place to use as opposed to going like right across, like, hello, I'm different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would make sense that this could be different. It could even be a different color. Like you could put,
Yeah.
sage green and put um like the trim on your sleeves, the ribbing or something in that green, if you needed to introduce a second color because you ran out of yarn. So that
Yeah.
seems, well, that's a non-event as far as I'm
It's all
concerned.
about making do.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yeah, on to the next thing to show. This will probably be recognizable to a lot of your viewers, but did this thingy, the classic, Bestway 560 Pixie Hood. There it is. Fair Isle Pixie Hood and Mitts for anyone who wants to look it up. I used Jameson's of Shetland Spindrift yarn for this one. And this is where I taught myself to do the color work for the first time. I actually like made one before this with literally like superwash sock yarn, and of course it was, terrible, like barely holding itself together. So
Mm.
I realized, there's a learning curve there. The stickiness of this yarn is like absolutely perfect, as we all know, for color work. Um, was a lot of learning about like yarn dominance and all that kind of stuff to get the design to really pop. Um, so yeah, this has become one of my favorite patterns to make for other people. It's sort of great because you just like ask somebody what color they want, and then you can just do a lighter and a darker version of it, and then boom, you got it. I know that Susan Crawford has like a modernly written out like pattern for this.
Probably with the
Um,
chart.
right, with the chart and everything. I didn't actually use that, but so the first time I made this with the like really slippery sock yarn, I did the knitting flat color work, and like that was a whole mess, obviously. Um, and I hated that construction. I was like, why are we doing this? Why are we as a society doing this? So this was actually made with a knit in the round construction, and I steeked open the face hole. But yeah, you can see there, that's the like face hole opening that I've like steeked open.
Gorgeous.
And then just sew up the top and then pick up around, I cord. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't bought the Susan Crawford one. I don't know if that's what she recommends. Um, but it's been an absolute game changer for this pattern for me.
Maybe somebody who has the book will comment, is it knitted around and steeked in Susan Crawford's book?
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know. I like genuinely knitting flat color work is the most impressive thing in the world to me.
I've done it. It is what it is.
Right. For a little bit, it's doable, but for a whole thing, I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah. Especially like a whole fair isle.
But yeah, that's that. Pretty simple, but this was next on the chronology, I guess, of my knitting. I've always been really into Fair Isle, so I wanted to get there right away. And it took a little bit, but I feel like got there. Yeah, it's such a fun project. It's such a fun project for gifts. Yeah.
Mm. If you know people who would wear that. Today, a
Yeah.
lot of people wear beanies.
I'm lucky to have some friends who are creative dressers, so um I like that because I can give them my crazy stuff. This one is also from Vintage Knitting Party. Here's the sweater.
Sweet.
Yeah. You can probably already see that I've always had a problem with keeping the collar down. Um,
Even with blocking?
yeah, I've tried. So the initial pattern says to knit it like as a strip and then sew it around. And I did that first, but it was doing this the whole time. And it also has a crochet border. And I think I might have done the crochet border a little tight for the for this. Um, so then I took it out and then I did like a pick up and knit around collar. And this is that. And I think I might, I don't know, like take out the crochet border or like,
Well, when they said like knit it, was it a straight thing? It didn't have a curve to it?
you know, I can't quite remember.
Because if it's straight, I think it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd have to kind of like ease it in and maybe have little sections that are puckered, and you'd have to really pay attention to the front. But I would think that they would put some increases in here to give it a little more area.
It might have been okay. This was years ago now, but like I think what it was is like you started with a smaller needle size and then you went to a larger one.
Okay, that'll give you the same effect as
Yeah,
increasing.
I think it may be different. It may be I may be making that up completely, but maybe I just would need to do it with like an even larger one. That's
Right,
like because I think I'm a pretty tight knitter. So
right. You might
yeah,
have had to go up instead of one size, two sizes or something like that to really give you that extra fabric that you need to go around the larger circumference.
yeah. This is for me. This is one of those sweaters that is like we all have those sweaters. I feel like that's technically done, but there's like something about it. Yeah.
I know, like I keep having this thought. I have a few of those in my wardrobe, and I keep thinking, should I bring it out? Like maybe there's like a side slit and the front is longer than the back. Um, if it was knit top down, I'd be able to just rip that out and pull back the longer side. I'm not sure that that's the case, but I thought like of reknitting a whole sweater, just pulling it out and redoing it. These aren't big projects I'm talking about, like
Mhm.
chunky yarn, big needles. I could do it. Um, yeah, if you have something like that, you should bring it to my UFO knit along and make it
You're
like
right.
like this is a project I really don't want to face alone without other people like
Mhm.
bolstering support. So here's my little advertisement, UFO knit along coming
Yeah.
this week. So details in the show notes. Just jump on Zoom with us and we'll give you support to try and work through what you've been putting off for possibly years. So
Yeah.
that, I mean,
That could be one for this. I mean,
it
yeah,
could,
this
or
sweater,
something else. Another thing you could do is you could probably just tack that down, put a couple little stitches.
right. That's what I was thinking of.
I
This,
did that here. I tacked these because I wanted them to
oh,
stay in place.
okay.
I didn't
Yeah.
want them to come untied.
Because like when it is down, it does fulfill, the space, but it's just whenever you like flex here, it's like, oh, there it is.
I also think with that, just aggressively blocking it, wet it really well. Like, just soak that collar area for like 30 minutes, get it really saturated, and then pull the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Don't rip it, but, really work that area and see if you can get it to stretch a little. But if the crochet is so tight and it's not going to move, maybe that
Yeah, I
won't
might
work.
just take out the crochet and just like try the crochet again to be less tight,
On a
maybe.
bigger hook so it's
Yeah.
looser.
Yeah. This sweater, um, yeah, just a little bit like stats about this. It's in Cascade 220, the fingering non-superwash, which I find like a great option for vintage
Hmm.
sweaters.
I haven't used
Um,
that.
yeah, it's really economical. They have a ton of colors. It's a two ply, so it's like it feels, I guess it like feels very vintage to me. I mean it's not a three ply, but I recommend. This sweater is supposed to be all one color. I was feeling like let me be designing right now, and I decided to do the two tone, and I really don't like it. Like I really wish it was all one color. So the other thing I wanted to ask your audience about is Billie viewers, do you think I should dye this to be all one color? My mom is utterly horrified at this idea, but um I feel like this in black would be pretty cool. I don't know.
You want my opinion?
Yeah.
I look who you're asking. I mean, I love two-tone.
Yeah.
It limits what you can wear it with. Like I'm wearing white pants right now. I mean, it does limit it if you want that look, but I think you could find like green skirts. You can
Mm,
certainly find little white things, even maybe what you're wearing now over that.
yeah.
I don't think those colors are problematic.
Okay. Yeah, it's just so white. Like that's the thing about this, that the design is already like very like frilly girly, and then it's like so white that it's like it feels aggressively white because I did choose like the,
Oh,
whitest
well,
one.
you could just dip it in tea if you want to get it a little beigeier,
Should I that could be really cool.
because you'll still have two tones. It's not going to
Yeah.
change the green. I would just be afraid that it wouldn't be uniform.
Hmm.
I would be inclined to leave well enough alone. And if you really love the sweater, just knit it again. But I am curious too to hear what other people have to say about that.
Yeah, because I saw somebody on Ravelry who made it in black and it looked really nice with like a little
Knit
bit
it in
with like
black
the
then.
the lace with like a little bit of skin poking through, like, so I
Knit
don't
it in
know.
black.
Yeah,
Knit another sweater.
I might do that. I might just do that. This has
And
also,
you might want long sleeves for the black one,
yeah, that would be really nice. Like a tight long sleeve. Yeah,
just
this
to
sweater has
change it
always
up.
been, it's always been a little bit of a to me because I also had, I was still really new in my knitting journey and I didn't do a gauge swatch for this one.
Okay,
Uh,
some people like step and do and they're just lucky. Um, you could also
it doesn't fit me very well, but
you could
yeah,
also do a different collar,
yeah,
and then you won't have the potential of having that problem again.
yeah.
Make a different collar that, slit in
Ooh,
the front.
maybe like a little pointed one.
Yeah, like a Peter Pan kind of collar that's
Uh,
open in the front or something else.
yeah, that's true.
Sailor collar, whatever. But you don't have to do that collar. Then you'll have like two very different looking sweaters.
Yeah,
Or the
actually,
same, or the same.
wow, I the possibilities are endless. It's
I
maybe I
know.
should talk to another knitter about this. Um, yeah, yeah. It's a I wanted to point out there's a really, really cool detail for the top of the sleeve just before we move on, where like this the pattern just kind of it makes it makes a puff sleeve just by like ending like stopping the increasing in the pattern. So it's very like elegantly done where you just have all the decreased lines coming towards the sleeve cap. That's my favorite part about this pattern. It's from also from Vintage Knitting Party.
This is
Um,
great. I love to see other people's
oh,
stuff.
good. Okay, good, good. The next thing I wanted to show is this blue and white sweater that you may like given your love of sailor things. Um, Here it is.
Oh.
It's has a couple of really interesting things about it. It's from I think the early 30s. What is it called? It's by Listers. There's a reason, let's just say there's a reason they're not the number one kind of vintage knitting
Oh.
patterns that people follow.
Oh.
The
Mhm.
pattern is a little bit tough, poorly written, I would say, but it's gorgeous design. Listers the Julienne jumper and sports cap. It comes with a little sports cap that I haven't made, but
Oh, can we
it's
see a picture?
really darling. It's like a little side cap. I'll send you pictures of all the stuff. Um, it's like one of those like super jaunty side caps that
Yeah,
has the
that sounds
same cap
good.
on it.
Let's get
Yeah.
the cab.
Let's see the cap. Let me see if I can like drag the pattern over to the
Okay, so here's the picture that Emma just sent me. Um, yeah, it's a cute little thing.
mhm.
So is this feather and fan?
Sort of. I would say, yeah, there's like a knit three together and then increases, yarn over increases on either side. I guess it's kind of like a variation on that.
Hmm.
Um, and then you do these kind of like decreasing in width stripes up the top. There's, if you saw the cap, and then there's also like this scarf that goes along with it that sort of goes around the neck and then crosses over. And it goes through this interesting slit in
Did
the
you
sweater.
make it?
I tried to make it like 3 times. I still will make it one day. I will make it, but the increase ratios and like the gauge and the pattern, it was just not working out to make this like really big.
I thought it was a blouse. I didn't realize that that was knit. Ooh.
Yeah, and you're supposed to attach it with these like buttons. So let me see if I can
Oh.
show a little bit better here.
You know,
But yeah, I made the slit.
I usually don't like this feather and fan motif because usually people do like a lot of colors and it doesn't
Yeah.
appeal to my sensibility, but yours maybe because it's blue and white. I
Yeah,
don't know.
probably.
But yours, it takes that extra layer of ornateness out of it because it's already, busy with all the eyelets and lacy stuff and the vertical and then the flame stitchy thing happening. So, but I think just having it in two colors, especially two smart colors,
Hmm. Of course.
I give it the Billie seal of approval.
Let's go. Yeah, no, it's this was a this I decided to make this. in the blue and white because I feel like it was like giving kind of a wave look.
Mm.
Um, I think the gray and red of the original is really nice too. But also I had previously knit a like sailor looking sweater vintage, and it got absolutely desecrated in the wash, like in the block. Like the blue turned the white blue. It was a
Well, you
travesty.
know about what is it called? Color catchers or something? Those sheets? No? Oh, I think it's Shout makes a product.
Okay.
They come in a little like orange box and they're like the kind of like little square sheets that you would put in the dryer, but
Uh-huh.
it's called Color Catcher, something like that. It's in my show notes always. Like people can, go to
Oh,
Amazon and buy it. Have the link in my show notes perpetually. But when you're doing two very different colors, and blue is a problem.
a
I've
problem.
had blue problems with more than one yarn, and one dyer who I talked to, who was the dyer of the yarn that was a problem for me, it just kept bleeding out nonstop. She confessed, she said blue is the hardest color for the dyers. They all seem to have
Oh,
a
no.
problem with it. It has to be fixed right. And she had me send it back to her at her expense. And she did some extra step on it to like fix the color a little bit more for me. Unfortunately, the blue was no longer the blue that I liked when I bought the yarn. Now it was like faded out. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well.
But
Yeah.
but that's a good thing to know about. And also, dear listeners, you're supposed to swatch and you're supposed to
Block your.
wash your swatch so that you see if that's going to happen. And then at least you're prepared. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but the color catchers, I think, would have helped. It grabs up that extra blue before it has a chance to affect the white.
Yeah. That would have been good.
But if it's
Um,
uniform, so now it's like, is it like a powder blue and navy?
yeah, it was like it turned into a navy and like a powder blue, but I just couldn't. My heart was hurting too much to wear. Like I just don't somehow. It also pilled really badly. The yarn was pretty cheap and
But it
um
reads, when you showed it to me, it reads navy and white. I
oh
mean,
no, this was the one I had knit one
oh,
previously.
you knew one before.
Yeah, so
Oh,
this was
I'm
kind of my
sorry.
like no, it's okay. This one was like my redemption. Like I was like, well, you know
Oh.
what? I'm gonna make a better sailor sweater. Um so yeah, that's the story of this sweater
Well,
basically.
so I definitely like yours better than the one on the pattern.
Oh, really? Okay, great.
Oh, by far.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, because I
Yeah.
like these colors.
Yeah.
These are colors that are perennially spring. Every year, black and white, navy and white, they're always coming back. Like,
Yeah.
it never becomes the fashion, like, ooh, taupe and brown is the classic that, is going to be coming back every year. It's always navy and white because it just looks so good.
Yeah. It's timeless and it's can work for anything and yeah, it's great. I was super drawn to these like gigantic sleeves that taper down. I think they're so fun. Um, the pattern for these, let's just say I had to knit 3 sleeves. Um, and leave it at that. Listers, you make really beautiful designs, but I don't know about the measurements on those, the gauge. I think my row gauge was like maybe a little bit off, but of course they don't give you one in the beginning, so it's like
Oh, row gauge. Okay, all bets
that
are off.
whole headache.
No, no. I mean, even contemporary patterns don't give you the row gauge because, like, who cares? You need it longer, you need it longer. Keep
Right.
knitting. Usually, it doesn't matter. It could matter in the arm side, but somebody correct me if they think I'm wrong. I think if you're knitting the front of the sweater, whatever your row gauge is here, you're going to have the same thing happening on the sleeve. So it probably will fit if you haven't tinkered with the stitch count and the row count of the original pattern. If you start monkeying around with like, oh, I have a really thin arm and I'm gonna, only do 6 inches instead of 7 inches, yeah, you're gonna have to make the same adjustment in your sleeve cap. And for you, that's probably a snap, but for the rest of us, not so much.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, this was one where I did have to do some resizing. I don't remember what it was,
well,
but
that
it
might
was
be
somewhere.
why row gauge became an issue for you.
Yeah, this was a definitely another. It's so interesting with like every project. Like you just you can't do a project without learning
Like
something.
it's like all new all over
Yeah,
again.
all over. Yeah, it's crazy. I also learned a lot about fiber content for this project because the original is knit in silk. I realized after I finished this, so it's supposed to be, this airy spring thing.
Hmm.
This is 100% wool. So it's extremely warm, and that's great, but it doesn't have the sort of like elegant drape that you see in the original, It's supposed to be very like the sleeves are supposed to sort of like fall over the elbow in this really like elegant way. And mine don't, and maybe I'll knit the pattern again with some silk blend later, but yeah. That this is the project where I really realized like, okay, maybe I was like a really like 100% wool purist. I was like, okay, maybe like not everything has to be like 100% wool. Like there's a whole world of fibers out there.
Exactly.
This is a vest. This is by Sirdar. Sirdar 119. It's called Teenage Jerkin or Jerkin, right? Isn't that like the old time word for vest?
Got me. Sounds British. Oh,
Okay, yeah, it's definitely British.
yeah, well, Sirdar, I like the pattern. I like the motif.
Yeah,
And I
it's
like your
cool.
color choices too. Are those the colors that they specified?
They are absolutely not.
So you did a very good job.
Thank you.
Sometimes it doesn't work out so
Yeah.
well.
I will say I had a lot of help from some lovely, lovely people at the Yarnery in St. Paul, Minnesota,
Hmm.
which is my favorite yarnery
Shout
to
out to
shop.
the armory.
No, huge shout out to the Yarnery of St. Paul, Minnesota. Amazing, amazing place. So like they showed me that really cool trick where you can sort of take a picture of all the colors that you have picked
In
out
black
and
and
then put it
white.
in black and white. And that was incredibly helpful. This is knit in JC Rennie Super Soft 4-ply. All except for there's like a little pink you can kind of see in there,
Mm-hmm.
right there. And that's actually the light color from this.
Ah.
Yeah. I made this mostly when I was in bed and had COVID.
Oh.
It's okay. But it was like my furious knitting project, like while recovering from COVID. I also changed the construction for this one, where it was supposed to be knit completely flat. I know. I like absolutely not, actually.
Well, you're very brave because so many people are afraid of steeking. Oh my
I
goodness.
know.
But it's a sticky wool, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Piece of cake, sticky wool, piece of cake. Sticky wool, do some crochet. It's gonna be fine. For anyone who hasn't discovered the joys of steeking yet, it's incredibly joyful to be cutting that. I don't know. And it
Did
makes
you
life,
see my episode when I did the genie
yeah.
without a sticky wool?
But even then, it worked out, right?
I just lost an earring.
Oh
Here it
no.
is. Um, yeah, it worked out, but I had freight check in hand
Mm,
as it
yeah.
started to, these teeny tiny, it was on a size one needle. The stitches were so small. It was
Yeah, it
hard
only
to
takes.
catch all of them. But with a sticky wool, it's usually not a problem. That was the only time I steeked. I'm going to have to do it again someday because I do like Fair Isle.
Hmm.
I don't have a vest like that, or maybe a cardigan, but
Yeah,
one day
one day.
it's on the wish
Yeah,
list.
I don't know. I feel like that's something very empowering about knitting is that like even if it all goes to disaster, you're the one who made it and you can make it again. Like that's of
I
course, like
wouldn't.
we've all had our knitting heartbreaks, like with my, dye problems and like we've all had things that have sort of started to unravel, but or even if you like lose somebody, like you lose something, like that's the incredible part about it is that it's you who made it, like you can make it again. I don't know.
When I'm traveling with my knitting, if I have more than one project, I don't check it in my bag. I carry it on the plane with me
Okay.
because, 100 hours might have gone into it. Yes, I could knit it
Yeah.
again, but I wouldn't want to, except my For the Rink or the Links. I'm knitting that
God.
for.
That project, that I have to tell you in a little aside, like that project has had me absolutely captivated. Like, no
four
kidding.
years.
For on your channel for however long it's been going on. Like I
Four
have always been
years.
literally for that many years, it's been me like on my phone whenever like a new episode comes out being like, is she gonna talk about For the Rink or the Links? Because because I was following it like as if it was like sports. Like
Like a murder mystery.
literally.
The
Because also
next installment.
yeah. Because like the design is somehow like I think it's the most pretty thing ever and the colors too like it's such a beautiful design, so I've always been like I really hope Billie can like get get that.
How many tears I shed, how much I beat myself up, and I just, ugh, I have to finish it, but I can't deal with it. I put it aside. So you didn't see it for a long time, but now it is back,
I'm
and
so happy.
it will be finished. I'm just hoping that it fits well. I mean, I've tried on the parts, basted together. I'm hoping that I'll get some wear out of it. The shoes that I knitted to match, I don't think I can really wear since I had my injury.
Mm.
I think my days of wearing a heel are kind of over, maybe for a little while. I don't know. It's a shame. Like when I'm all done, I'll have to show the shoe. The shoes are probably never going to be on my foot. It's just going to be like a museum piece.
Whenever you wear
Apart,
the sweater you just like have one of the shoes like
yeah, I'll park them up here like people
yeah,
can see. Oh, the shoes match the sweater.
it would be funny like obviously this is crazy but like if you turned one of the shoes into a purse and then just like had it as your
Oh, it
bag.
sounds so Elsa Schiaparelli, maybe like,
Yeah.
ooh, or a hat. Like she did
Yeah,
the shoe
yeah,
upside
yeah, yeah,
down.
yeah. One of them for your purse, you just put a little chain on it, and then one of them on your hat.
Thank you very much. It was so lovely to have you as a guest. I'm definitely going to take that idea. I think that's a great idea. And then I'll have a story to tell. Like I couldn't wear
Yeah.
it as a shoe.
Yes.
So,
I think that would be so funny, if not for like a crazy costume party or something.
oh, I
So,
wouldn't want to insult Elsa Schiaparelli.
right.
She was real about it.
She was real. She was real.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm that bold, but
Right. I mean, hey, you're in Manhattan. Like,
maybe Carmen Miranda wore like a tutti frutti,
yeah.
whatever.
If they can do it, you can do it, Billie.
I,
Come on.
yeah, maybe. Ooh, the shoes are so gorgeous. But yeah, stay tuned for the Rink or the Links. Actually, no, this episode will air before the finished. I'm still a little ways away because I still have to knit the neckline in, but
Yeah.
it's
I'm
it's
I'm so
nearing.
happy.
I mean, there's no question that I can go over the finish line now because the pieces are appropriately sized and the softness is there. Anyway, sorry to steal
Amazing.
your thunder. Let's go
You're
back
so
to
good.
your
I
knitting.
actually I really wanted to mention that because the last project I'll show is like another crazy Intarsia thing, and I've been gaining a lot of inspiration from the Rink or the Links actually. So we'll talk about more later about that.
Okay.
But yeah, here's the inside of my teenage Jerkin, which is hilariously named. I did have to make this a little bigger, I think,
That's
from
the
the past.
inside?
Yeah,
Oh, it's so neatly done. Very
thank you.
good.
Yeah, and you can see this. I always had like, you're really supposed to like finish the steeks or whatever, like put the ribbon or something. I never, whatever. I'll do it maybe one day. Who knows?
You don't
But yeah,
have to. You don't have to.
the neck
If it's
steek was the most confusing to me.
no one's going to see that, but if it's the
Yeah,
front edge of a cardigan that might flip over, then it's nice to have that ribbon in there concealing all the little ends. But Some patterns, maybe they're just contemporary. I don't know. The designers have you knit an extra little like welt that then you can fold over. So you already have your sort of like faux ribbon in place and you just stitch it.
Yeah. That's so elegant. That like that kind of planning is not
Right,
with me right now in my life, but
right.
maybe down the line it will be with me.
You could pick up stitches
Yep.
and just knit a little welt, but ribbon is nice too.
It's just like it's a very dense gauge and it's very warm and it's right in like the armpit area. So like it does make me kind of hot sometimes. Um and it's a little bulky. So I think maybe I'll trim them down. They're very secure, they're practically like felted.
That's it. And no one's going to see it, and it is going to felt in from the warmth and the humidity of your body. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I know myself I wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
Susan
The one thing
Crawford maybe would bother.
she would bother. Yeah.
I
This is
shouldn't speak
mostly
for
in
her. I don't know. But
right.
yeah, would you put ribbon there? Would
Susan,
you?
if you're in the audience, tell us whether we were right or wrong. Good on you.
What have
Um,
you done?
the one thing about this though is like I just wish it was a little bit longer and they discontinued this color. Otherwise, I would because oh, the one thing about this sweater too is that it's obviously knit from bottom up, but I made a one by one ribbing at first and it was just so ugly with the way my stuff was like, sometimes with one by one it's like just splaying out in like a crazy way.
Hmm.
Um and I actually cut it off. And this is a two by two that's knit this way.
So
So I did
you
a
could
little
cut it off again and change the color. I
maybe. I don't know.
mean, is that how you want to spend your time? Like,
No.
that's the
No.
thing, you have to make the choice. Like, should I take that 5 hours or more and put it towards like casting on a new project?
Yeah. I'm gonna go new project. But yeah,
I
this
don't know.
is this is one of my most the pieces I'm most proud of. I like to call it like a thistle jerkin because it's like kind of looks like the colors of the thistle.
The color choices are really great, and that's very hard to achieve. I speak from experience. My
Mm,
genie, I'm not so happy with the colors.
mm.
And not because there isn't the contrast, I achieve that, but I don't
It's
know.
hard. It's so hard.
Mine is 9 colors.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's I feel like it's so hard to choose the colors for a Fair Isle project without it looking like cartoon and goofy kind of.
Hmm.
That's what I had trouble with. The original pattern literally says like bright royal blue, bright red, yellow, green, like it's like
Those were the
crazy.
Shetland colors.
Yeah, yeah. But like and like I'm all for period accuracy and everything, but I was like I don't know if I can wear this out like in that way.
Well, because they probably were like a little bit heathery.
Yeah.
And if they're Shetland wool, they blend into one another. So it's not like royal blue screaming at you like this. It gets covered over by the adjacent colors. It
Yeah.
softens it. So,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah,
well,
they're
but
definitely a
your
nice.
colors are good and unique and they work. That's the key thing.
Thanks.
At least I think, I'm not a Shetlander, so
Yeah. We're just a couple of Americans.
yeah,
We
just
only have a couple more things to show. So,
okay.
speaking of Susan Crawford, actually, this is the next thing I'll show. It's this really heavy, big zip up jacket. This is
Wow.
published.
3 zippers.
Yep. This was
Go
published in
girl.
her in one of her books. I don't remember the name of it, but I think maybe it's one of the Stitch in Times. I don't remember. But yeah, it's this beautiful zip up jacket with all these zippers, and then the yarn I used was a Cascade Blue Face Luster that I bought from Webb's in Northampton, Mass. Um, yeah, the Susan Crawford version, what I love in her book, I didn't realize this, but like you know how she has like the original pattern and then also the translation, transcription, if you will.
Hmm.
And so I saw on the original pattern that it had the there's it's just like a pearl pattern, stitch pattern, but it had the V going like in, and then on Susan's it was like going the same direction. So I decided to take the original 40s one, and go for the chevron-esque.
Is hers going the same direction because she steeked it?
No, it just was I guess a design choice.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it makes sense for sure because the back is all one piece and the back is going one direction.
Which you
So
could do the back going
you could. Yeah.
that way
I
too.
definitely thought about that. I kind of wish that it was, but um whatever. Don't want to do math.
So it sounds like you're never happy.
No, no, Billy, I am. It's just that I believe critique is like the best way to get better, but I
Okay.
am very happy with all my projects, I promise.
Okay.
Um,
Now,
despite a couple
because you
failures.
have your sewing background, did you sew your zippers in on the machine?
So I made this shortly after moving. I made most of it back in San Francisco, and then I finished it up in New York City, and I do not have a sewing machine here. So I actually put these in by hand. I am not afraid, and I will show you the inside because I'm very proud of it. There's the zipper inside.
Beautiful.
Um, there it is. I got this really nice ribbon from the garment district. Um, and it was very difficult to find a color. It's like this sort of, I really like this color. It feels vintage to me because it's kind of like this in-between color, you know, of like, it's blue, green, gray, sort of.
Hmm.
And I feel like it just fits the vibe really well. This sweater weirdly is also like a golfing, it's billed as like a golfing sweater. Um, Similar to the Rink and the Lynx, of course. But yeah, it's super duper warm and cozy. I sought this out because I bought this DK yarn, which I like rarely ever use. And then I was searching the web endlessly for like a thicker weight, like vintage sweater. And then I finally came across this one that Susan has popularized more.
It's a really stunning design. I love
Yeah.
all the zippers.
I will tell you though, Billy, secret that the smaller zippers are just for show. I didn't put a pocket in there.
Okay.
Um, it's funny whenever I
Having
wear
a
this.
pocket may not be that functional. Like, what can you put in a wool pocket?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if it's like really densely knit and strong. I'm knitting something now where there are pockets, but they're teeny little pockets. They're really not functional.
Mm,
It's just like a little detail to give it an extra little
yeah.
look.
Yeah, I didn't actually read what they said to do in the original pattern, but in the Susan Crawford version, she says to like put a fabric pocket.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I totally would have tried to do that more earnestly if I had had a sewing machine with me, but I was just like, and I
Like
wanted this for an event, so I just was like, we're done.
you have to think about if it did have a pocket, what would you be putting in it? Like the one thing I seem to put in my pocket is my keys. I have a lot of keys. And then I have those little like tag things from like the drugstore that they can scan your thing. And my library card is on my key. So, my keys are like a clump of stuff. It wouldn't be so great in a knitted pocket like that. I think it would be bulging out and
Yeah.
like, what are you putting in there? A credit card? Maybe. If you even have a credit card, a lot of people have their Apple Wallet or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm old school, so I have like a physical credit card and my Omni card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those would go in a little pocket like that, but not much else.
They're not going to fit your phone. I mean, maybe the breast
No,
pocket.
oh no, it would be way too heavy. And your phone may be bigger than that. It'd be sticking out. That would not be a good look. No.
It's just
Ooh.
funny when I wear this. Sometimes
So
my
that's
friends,
it. Like, there's really
yeah,
no like function today. Maybe back then they would have put a lipstick in there. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, but
I
it
don't carry
does.
lipstick with me generally because
Mhm.
this color, it's on. It's not going
Right.
anywhere.
Yeah, it's just I actually did try knitting a pocket. Like I did this whole thing where I like picked up all the stitches around it and then like did a small tube and then closed it off at the end, but it was just so bulky, like just bulging out of the area. Like it doesn't look good. So,
Yeah, it's for show. The aqua jacket that I made, the 1940s that has the teal colored sleeves. That has two, I only sewed on one, but I have the second pocket, two patch pockets. But it's kind of thin. I don't think I would put anything in them that
mhm.
would poke through or whatnot. It's for show. It's for
Yeah,
show. And for you, you have the zipper. So it's a little detail. Who needs the pocket? Well,
right.
that's clever of you to think of that.
Kind of one of those things where I was just rushing to get it done and I was like, that's not happening, but I'm really glad with how it came out, you know?
So
Um,
you're a little smarter than the average bear
I
and
suppose.
McCann.
I suppose, if you say so.
I think so. I'm just wondering where you went to school. Because I know in the San Francisco area, they have a couple of really good places.
That's true, they do. We'll talk. We'll talk. The other thing I have to say, like Susan Crawford, I love your patterns. There was no there was no instructions about how to put this collar on, and I suffered and struggled, Billie. I eventually came up with like a crazy equation sort of thing where it's like there was different ratios for the back, for the sides, for the front of picking up stitch like or like of seaming. It came out amazingly, I have to say. And I used a seaming technique that I never have before where there's no right or wrong side. You're probably familiar.
No,
Um, it was just basically you just did like knitting is when it's this like sort of bulky, probably not so much on like a fingering weight garment. It's it's 3D, right? Like you have like the two pieces and then you have their tops, like the bound off stitches, right? um, are like these kind of three-dimensional pathways. And the way that this worked is like just seaming them right together, like as if my hands are the top of the bind off. So they don't
like
like
this,
yeah, it's sort of just like this. Like so
like
they don't go to
mattress
one.
stitch.
But mattress stitch, like they have to go to
Oh,
one
right, you have that
side.
little inner seam. Um,
Yeah.
no, there is something that
Yeah.
I think with garter stitch, you can get them to be like in a quilt.
Yeah.
Squares of garter stitch, you can put them side by side. I forget what the tech, I think it still is mattress stitch,
Mm.
but you do it so that they're side by side.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
the
did that
thickness of
sort of
the
thing.
that garter stitch, yeah. But I don't
Yeah.
know specifically what you're describing.
I don't know the name for what I did. It could have maybe
Hmm.
been something that I just like devised, but it was extra hard because there was like I'm seaming bound off a bound off edge with, you know, a bound off edge, but also like the side, then it turns into the side, then it turns into the front, so there's it's like a completely different stitch anatomy at every part, which is often the case for collars, of course, right? Where like you have the side here is like the side of stitches, but then it's the top of stitches in the back, and then there's like the awkward part on the side. So it took, I mean, I sewed this on 3 different times, like, and
I struggle with the folding over. Like if this is the back of the sweater and the collar's coming here.
yeah.
If it's sewn like this, then I need for this to like roll. And if it rolls too much, then you see the back and you don't really want to see the back on the outside of your sweater. So yeah, I would think that somebody who's a seamstress would know how to like ease it in so that it rolls just right. I think I struggled a little with this, same kind of
Hmm.
thing. The inside, well, you won't see it there.
I see that,
This is
yeah.
on the inside, so a whole bunch of the white is rolling inward. It didn't tell you in the pattern how to do it, but That is the solution I came up with. I don't know. So I think that
Yeah.
is a conundrum. And yeah, maybe the next time I talk to somebody like Susan Crawford, I might ask, like, people come to me like I'm going to have all the answers because I do a lot of vintage knitting, but there are things that are still conundrums for me. That's sort of one of them.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the parts about vintage knitting that I absolutely love is just like the way that it's can kind of set problems forth to you and you are like the one to engineer them. Like I just really enjoy that because yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just fun. It's fun solving a problem like the way that you want it to be solved and like making the concessions that you want to make rather than the concessions that maybe the pattern writer in a modern pattern would have you make. It's really self-guided in that way. And had I wanted to have a sort of seam over here, I could have, but
Right.
um yeah, it's just such a choose your own
If
adventure.
it works, that's all you need.
Yeah.
So that brings me to a question about your background. I mean, you said that you sew, but professionally, like, are you in an analytical profession?
Um, I'm not. I studied history and ancient Greek in college. I guess like I'm not in an analytical profession, but I would definitely consider myself an analytical person. I feel like sort of doing history requires that in a certain way. The analytical along with the sort of creative and like narrative way of thinking. Um, but yeah, I'm still very early in my like professional life, so I'm still getting a footing. But yeah,
No, but you're not trained. Like many of the people I
yeah,
interviewed were
no,
trained as engineers or
yeah,
scientists. So, they
yeah,
do have that like problem solution mentality.
yeah. I think it's so interesting how many people are like scientists and engineers
Yeah,
in
it
knitting.
is. It
Um,
is.
I'm so far from that. Like I'm too
As
bad.
soon as you said history, I was like, I know as an
Oh,
engineer, history was like one of the reasons why I went to engineering school. Because in engineering school, you don't really have to take history. I mean, yes, my alma mater, they do require contemporary civilization. So we had to read all these, great books, which
yeah.
I didn't understand. Even now, when I try and read um, Machiavelli or Freud, I'm out of my element. I mean, I can't. I read the words and it's not resonating with me. History was my least favorite subject in high school. But then suddenly I got very interested in genealogy. And because of that, history became important to me.
Uh-huh.
But specific history, the history of my family
Yeah.
and how they spread themselves out around the world into countries that were unique based on their background.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it had to do with a historic event, the opening of the Suez Canal.
Uh-huh.
Before that, my great grandparents would not have been able to go from Ukraine to India.
Yeah. Wow,
They
that's
would have
huge.
had to circumnavigate the whole African continent.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when they were able to start leaving Ukraine after the opening of the Suez Canal. So I think that's like 1867, something like that, before 1870. So that's,
Wow.
an important historic event that really affects me and why I was born in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, history, the part that's always been the most fascinating is that like to me at least is that like the world, our world, where we are, who we are, why we are, everything is like because of all these hundreds and hundreds of layers that happen.
But the way it's taught
Yeah,
is
bad.
like unpalatable, like memorizing battles and the people who waged different wars and the dates, and it's just rote memorization. It didn't resonate with me at all. I'm not good at memorizing facts and figures, which is why I liked mathematics. You don't have to memorize anything. You just have to understand the logic, and then you can reason through a lot of things. So
Uh-huh.
it's a different
Yeah.
part of the brain, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think history was I've always been interested in like the sort of cultural and social histories of people, never
I'm
the
so glad
like
because it
yeah.
takes all kinds.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I feel like my love of history it drives this in a lot of ways, right? Like trying to figure out like the contours of women's everyday women's lives, um, sort of in the 20th century and earlier. Um, Knitting and sewing would be a big part of that. So it's sort of a anthropological thing in that way of like doing it,
And the
obviously with so
history of
much different.
fashion, the
Yeah,
history of
fashion.
fashion,
I
to
mean,
be
you're
able
incredibly into Art Deco and all that kind of stuff. So you're more of an art history person, I guess.
to look at a photograph from 1870 and recognize, well, those clothes are not the clothes that people wore in the 1920s
Hmm.
or maybe even the 19 aughts. So,
Yeah. And like why? Like what are the social movements shaping that? Like fashion is so political and so like intertwined with markets, trade markets,
mm,
commodities, like everything. And it just yeah, it's endlessly fascinating. But do you think that your engineering background like informs your knitting at all?
definitely,
Okay.
definitely geometry, algebra. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
capable of higher level mathematics than that, certainly, but I feel like the patterns are very numbers driven and being
Yeah.
able, some people are really like intimidated by understanding gauge, like, certainly a newer knitter. Um, why do I need to know that? Well, like, do you want it to fit? Why do I need to know my measurements? Like, the length of my arm or how big my neck is or how big am I from the top of my shoulder to where my collar would start? All those things. And I'm constantly adapting everything. And I'm always trying to do the math to make the pieces of the puzzle fit together.
Yeah.
So it's not high level math, but for somebody who's really intimidated by numbers, and I know that there are a lot of people in that boat,
Hmm.
it's daunting, even though
Yeah.
it's pretty simple math, 20
Right.
inches on the front plus 20 inches on the back is going to give me 40 inches around. And my bust isn't 40 inches, but that's going to give me a little bit of ease. That's numbers.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people don't have even like rudimentary number sense because they're so afraid. I don't know what happened in their childhoods, but they didn't have the support
Hmm.
of maybe, loving teachers or parents who were patient with them and tried to break it down in a way that they could understand it. I mean, I know for my kid, well, you live in New York, so you understand like the alternate side of the street parking.
Hmm.
When my son was very, very young, before he started school, we had a car to go out to the grandparents and to cart stuff around from point A to point B. It was helpful to not always be in and out of taxis, especially, longer trips.
Hmm.
So on the days that I had to move the car to the other side of the street, there was a pizza parlor on the corner, and I would pick up a pizza and I would bring it into the car, and we would have like a little picnic in the car. But for me, that was a learning moment because there are 8 slices in the pizza. And when you have all 8 of them, you have a whole pie. You have one pie. But if you take a slice down the center, now you have 2 halves, and so on and so forth. And also, we played with money. I mean, there used to be
Hmm.
pennies, and I would show them like 5 of these copper things are equivalent to this. I don't know what the metal is, nickel. Maybe nickel is made of
Yeah.
nickel. I don't know. So, there was a lot of math for my son as a very young child, which prepared him for a future as an engineer, which I'm
Yeah.
proud to say he too is.
That's great. I feel like the pizza thing is also great because it's like making math fun and also like a thing that exists in life, like in the
Right.
real world and like yeah.
Right. Like we were always, the problems they would give us would be like bushels of apples. Well, I never saw a bushel of apples. I didn't know
Yeah.
what a bushel of apples was. If you grow up on a farm, yeah, you're going to know that. But I was a city kid.
Hmm.
So, and like, crazy examples of things. And until you're a grown up, you don't realize like, oh, I'm buying carpet by the yard. Um, my room is 11.3 feet wide. And, how many yards do I need for that? And then, oh, there's a whole corner that isn't going to get carpeted because the walls form a corner. How do you figure out the area of that? That's a real life example that as a child, it's not going to resonate with you. But as an adult, like if you're thrown into that situation, it's really good to be able to sort of estimate
Yeah.
how, how do I calculate that and what number do I need? And certainly with purchasing yarn.
Oh my
How do you
gosh.
know if you need 4 balls or 5 balls? You're going to have to look at the yardage
Hmm.
and multiply and see how many yards does 4 balls give me? How many yards does 5 balls give me?
Yeah, I honestly really struggle with that. I'm getting better though. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there are a lot of people who are not comfortable.
It just like for me, it's kind of like it just slips my mind. It's like like I think of it as like a non-issue, but then it's like of course it's an issue. Like I'm like I think this looks like a sweater amount. But yeah, it gets hairy. That's why the collar of my yellow sweater is a different dial out because I had to the yarn was discontinued, and then I had to like buy a bootleg one on eBay, and it was like low key, maybe not real. I don't know. We don't know.
Look, obviously it's happened to me too that I've run out of yarn and I've had to go scurrying around to try and find the same dielet. So, you know, do as I say, not as I
Mm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
But just like, that's not your strong suit, history's not my strong suit. So we all have our different
True.
abilities.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
math
I
is
have
useful for knitters.
one more.
Yeah. Oh,
One
I
more
didn't know.
sweater.
Okay. Good.
Um, and then a work in progress, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
Um, this one is my most recent finished sweater. This is by Viella Yarns, which I had not heard about until I saw this. It's called the Claudette jumper I bought it from the Work Basket on Etsy, the Work Basket Vintage Knitting. And here it is. It is this sort of, it looks like a V-neck um, sort of vest. Um, but it actually, these things sort of turn into cap sleeves when you wear it. This one is a true feather and fan situation, as you can see. This was made with a lace weight yarn that I got from, there's an incredible secondhand sewing and knitting store in Rochester, New York called Sew What. I have no idea where this came from. It's quite old. This is what it looks like. I think I held it double to make like a lace weight yarn. It's a weaving thing. And I have a ton left over, so much. I think I might make a skirt, my first skirt, using the same pattern. That could be like a really fun project. But yeah, this is the deal. It has like this little crochet border.
It seems very fine. Is it like
Very.
an undergarment?
I don't think so. It's very much modeled as like a blouse in the pattern. Um, but yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's definitely like my finest project to date. Um, it's pretty dark green, so it's a little bit hard to see, but there's the pattern. It goes all the way up the front, um, until you get this little like outline portion. Um, and then the interesting part about this sweater is that it's a kind of an interesting construction where you knit up the back, make the neck hole, and like around to the front,
Hmm.
or vice versa, maybe up the front and down to the back. So that was my first time ever doing that, and I thought it was really, really great. I mean, like, Yeah,
So
it's
one
like
piece.
yeah, it's all
Look,
one piece, and then you're just like seaming up the sides, and then boom, done.
I knit
Um,
something like that, which is a contemporary pattern, but it has like a real vintage kind of vibe to it.
cool. Yeah, it's the only thing I struggled with was sort of knowing like how long to make it, like whether I should like add like extra
Right.
length for the front or the back or whatever. Um, but it all came out pretty good, I think. It's also nice because you can make your own arm sai, like whatever sort of depth or length of arm sai you want. You're just like, well, here's where I'm gonna stop seaming.
I like that. I like that pattern. I think it's something that's like an undergarment. I forget what it was called. I knit a like a pinkish one with a pattern that I got in Unst in the Shetland
Mhm.
Islands. But that the fineness of it makes it seem like on a really cold night, you want to be wearing this like under your nightgown.
Yeah, totally. It has these like little flutter sleeves that are really cute. This was my first time doing like a proper crochet like design border. It has like these tiny little loops or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what my project had too,
Oh,
around the
cool.
sleeves and around the neckline. And mine, I wove a little ribbon through because there were like
Oh yeah.
eyelets. Spencer, I think that's
A
what,
Spencer, yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's what that seems like just because of the thinness of it.
Yeah. I also this was another case of working backwards from the yarn because I just bought a ton of this at the store and then I was
It's
like,
lovely.
it's nice. It's a really nice color, really like a deep color that I feel like it's a little bit hard to find this like kind of green anymore.
Like a
Um,
fern green.
yeah, totally. And it makes my eyes look more green, but um I made kind of a huge mistake on this that is not, it's one of those like mistakes that like only you know about or whatever, but it's huge. It's a
And you feel
smart.
compelled to tell us. I
You're,
know. We're all like that, huh?
yep. When you get to the back and you cast on, you do another, you join these back for the back. You're supposed to start the feather and fan pattern over the whole sweater again, but I like did not read the pattern at all.
Oh.
So it's just going across the back on either side. But it's a design feature.
I like that. I actually like that. And I'm sure it was much less of a headache than having to do that multiple times.
Yep.
It's interesting how they cut it off like
Yeah. Yeah.
abruptly. So
Yeah.
you cut it off abruptly for the back.
There we
I
go.
I definitely would not have noticed like, oh, something's missing there. No, it looks like it was meant to be. So that was good. That probably spared you a lot of headaches.
Oh yeah. I was for a split second I was like, "Oh, should I?" Nope. No.
Good, good.
No. So yeah, this is has been a favorite of the sort of winter to spring moment, but obviously it's so hot in New York I can't wear any of this stuff.
Interestingly, I think every pattern that you've shown us is a pattern that you've purchased. You haven't done any freebies from Trove?
I've done mostly freebie like little hat things. I don't have all my stuff with me.
But I think
Um,
because you've paid for these, they're completely different from the other sweaters that I've seen.
yeah, I did make the lavenda sort of like slip stitch pattern that everyone makes. I got that one for free.
Mm,
And that's super fun. I want to make more of them. But yeah, I really do try to make patterns that I
different
haven't
ones.
seen.
Yeah.
Um, because like I love making the lavenda make do and mend jumper one that's super popular. But then yeah, I just there's like a couple patterns that are like so canonized almost in the vintage knitting space. Um,
Right. The
that
ones
I
I
think
generally don't like to do for
yeah.
that reason.
Yeah. I think it's good to like see what else is out there and I mean some of them are not popular for a reason like the the listers one but yeah it's good.
Maybe
Maybe.
that's the reason it's not popular. I don't know. I
Just
don't know if a lot of people have tried it. They might not have.
yeah. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Um, yeah, and I try to search for like for every project something that I haven't done before, something new. So that limits things, of course.
That's what I'm saying. We're like kindred spirits.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and for this, the last one I'll show you is my work in progress. One of my works in progress right now. It's another case of the I've never done anything like this before, so let me do this. And I may have jumped in a little bit over my head on this one. Um, I had done a little bit of Intarsia before, but like nothing with so many bobbins. So this is the sort of bridge jumper.
Oh, so cute.
I'm having a ton of fun, but it's 100% the hardest thing I've ever made so far. Um, this is with JC Rennie as the main color. And then I don't, I think it's by Lamana, it's by Lamana, but I don't know the name of the yarn for the pips, whatever I think they're called in the pattern. The suits. Um, and this Lamana is a boucle yarn.
Hmm.
And so in the pattern, they actually suggest doing the whole, or they want you to do the whole thing in boucle, which I had no idea because I have seen this pattern around and I've always been like, ooh, I love that. Like that's just, that's it, you know? Um,
But
but
people do it in green, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
supposed to be in green.
I prefer this.
Thanks. I have to say all credit to my little sister. She picked out the peachy color. Because we both agreed that the green was giving kind of a Christmas vibe.
I love playing cards, and I have had my eye on some motif that is like the queen. I don't know if that's in my cards, no pun intended. But I do like that. I'm a card player,
Mm,
and I've been fascinated by playing cards for a long time. My grandmother played bridge. My mother played canasta.
Canasta. What games do you play? What card games?
Blackjack. I'm like a
Uh-huh.
casino person. It's not like I have a weekly poker game. Although I went to a wedding once where the groom was maybe not professional, but like a wannabe professional poker player. And after the ceremony and the reception, we all went back to a hotel room and he had his chips in a thing and everybody played poker, which was
Whoa.
kind of fun. I'm not really a poker player. I just know like the basics. But yeah, I mean, I played gin,
Yeah.
basic stuff. I haven't played casino for a while, like the four card thing. I used to play a lot of card games as a kid, Spite and Malice. Um,
Uh-huh.
but I just love the look of playing cards, and I'm sure
Yep.
there's history behind,
Hmm.
the jack, the queen, the king, the ace.
Yeah.
And the pips, like, why is it a spade? Why is it club,
Yeah.
heart,
I feel
diamond?
like maybe there's yeah, it's totally true. Like it's so interesting to think about the history of like the cards and the sort of like the archetypes and the ideas that we have about like the different card
Because
suits
they
and all.
haven't changed for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, I mean,
scissors. I see like old scissors. They're a few hundred years old. They're the same.
yeah. Yeah. I went to Old Sturbridge Village in Massachusetts, like a, that place. Are you familiar?
Yes.
Yeah. And they said something about how like in the early America, they tried really hard to create like an alternate sort of suit system that did away with the king and queen.
Oh,
But obviously it didn't stick.
didn't
So
take on.
yeah.
Push on.
Um, so yeah, I love cards too. My sister is really more of like a big card player, but we love playing like whist um and gin rummy and that kind of thing. So
I mean,
yeah,
I have the book, like Hoyle's, the rules according to Hoyle for every game. And there's
nice.
a lot of card games in there.
We
My
love
husband's
cribbage.
not is not a card player so much, so we don't play. Pinochle I used to play,
My family loves cribbage. Like we always play cribbage together.
never played.
Oh, it's so fun.
I guess it's what your family like, sits down and does with you.
Yeah,
But just the cards alone, I
very fun.
like the look of them.
I would love people's advice. I mean, it's hard to give advice about sizing, obviously, over Zoom, but like I've reached the point in the pattern where I'm supposed to start making the armholes. But I noticed like one of the common pitfalls that I have in my knitting is making things a little bit too short. Because I'm very short-waisted,
Me
but I
too.
think, yeah,
And
it's
sometimes my
hard.
stuff is coming out too short.
Yeah, because you try to like, you're like, okay, I really need to like, make this fit. And then it's like maybe you overshoot.
One thing that I sometimes do is I do a provisional cast on.
Mm,
So that like for the Rink or the Lynx, it's a provisional cast on. So if when I'm all done, I want more ribbing, I can knit down.
yeah, then you won't have to do that, what I did, where you're just like chopping it off and
Right. The cable from my needles is still in there.
okay.
And I'll either bind off if I like the length, or I'll add some more rows. I mean, I really want to be done with this sweater, but I think I might need to extend my ribbing because really vintage sweaters have a lot of ribbing, and I probably didn't do enough.
Uh-huh.
But I also want to make sure that I have enough yarn to finish the rest of the sweater. And then with what I have left over, I can add more ribbing. I know I have plenty of the ribbing color. I bought more of that color because there's so much ribbing on that sweater. The ribbing on the sleeves is like, I
Right.
think 9 inches of solid color ribbing.
Wow.
So, I bought a lot more of that, and I do have a lot of that.
Yeah.
So I probably will knit down.
Yeah. I gotta start doing that. That sounds like a real hack for the short-waisted among us and the yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not, for me, it's not only about being short-waisted, it's also, I can't really tell how something's going to look until
It's
I
on.
try the whole thing on. And then I see, is it hitting me like at the high hip? Is it hitting me at the waist? Is it hitting me too far down?
Hmm.
And because I don't have an ideal figure, I'm kind of sensitive about, like, is my butt hanging out? Like,
There's no ideal figure, Billy. There's no ideal figure.
well, yes, I know, but some people are closer to the idea. Like, I'm a completely different size blouse than I am pants. A lot of people might wear an 8 blouse, an 8 pant. I'm not. Like, I'm, really
Actually,
like out of
I'm the same
proportion.
where like I'm bigger like up top and then I have my pant size is smaller than
Yeah,
like
so I'm smaller here,
okay.
bigger on the bottom, which is why I'm, more sensitive about where things are going to hit me. And it also depends. Is it a jacket? Then I want it to
Yeah.
come below my hip. Like, and I can't see what's going on in the back. So often I'll try things on and I'll ask my husband, is this hitting me in a good place? And he's
Yeah.
brutally honest with me. And he'll say, like, it's in a good spot for you. I mean, he knows that it's not a great area for me,
Mhm.
but some things do need to be a little longer than I make them. So,
Yeah.
but it's
I
good to have that option. When you have that provisional cast on in there, you at least have the option of binding off, I'm done, or continuing on if you need a little bit another inch or another 2 inches, whatever, because that could make a big difference in how something looks.
huge. I totally relate about not knowing how things are gonna fit on you and drape on you until it's all done. And like that's the thing about knitting flat that like is so much harder to fit sometimes. Where usually if you're doing something in the round, then you could try it on, or like top down, you can try it on in that way. But if you're making a
Yeah,
flat piece of fabric,
people
what am I gonna
make
do? Like,
that argument. I don't really buy it.
really?
I don't.
Okay.
If I had a mannequin, that was my exact measurements and I could pin things onto it, I know it would be very helpful for me because I'm lazy. I don't want to get up and try it on. And I don't want to baste. Like sometimes I don't finish the whole back. I might do part of the back and I might do part of the front so I can try that part on before I proceed because there's no going back.
Yeah.
So, it all depends. It's an ongoing situation.
Hmm.
And I just don't really want a mannequin. I have too much stuff in my tiny apartment as it is. It would be ideal. Like if I had a house for sure, I would want to have one with my exact measurements so I could see in 360 degrees how it looks on my body. When I look in the mirror, I'm seeing two dimensions and it's just the front.
Yeah.
It's not that helpful. Somewhat
You also,
helpful.
you never know though, like what the fabric is gonna want to do. You know, like some things they want to ride up a little bit, or like they want to fall in a certain way, and like it's really not till you're wearing that thing, I feel like, that you know how it wants to act sometimes.
Yeah, I'm knitting something now that I don't know if you've seen the pink cardigan
I'm not sure.
with this yarn.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not a vintage pattern, but I've tried it on and I'm not so happy with the fit, but it's an oversized thing. Okay. But the sleeves, like I thought I was done with the sleeves and they're like way up here. So I estimated that I have like another 4 inches of sleeve that I want to do because then there's a border that'll
Mm,
bring it down further. And I'm tired of knitting these sleeves. It just seems like I'm knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting and then when I tried it on, it's like, yeah, it's the fabric. It wants to ride up. It's
yeah,
very like fitted sleeve that I wasn't anticipating. If the sleeve were a little bit looser, it would hang differently, but the sleeve is kind of fitted on me and
yeah,
my arm is taking up not just the width, but some of the length too.
yeah. That's how I feel similarly about this one. Is like my one thing is like I just want it to be a little bit longer because it's like going up my way.
Hey,
But you live and you learn.
you can cut into it and graft and knit down. You can always do that if it really, really bugs you.
Yeah. Well,
I say no thanks.
you're like, let sleeping sweaters lie.
If you have to, then you have to. Okay. But, like I said, I have something that's like longer in the front, shorter in the back. One of these days, I will say, okay, I'm not going to start anything until I rectify the patterns that are not how I want them to be.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I try that, but then I'm also like a huge sock knitter, which has no real place on this podcast because they're modern, so I make modern socks. I will not make a vintage sock. I'm sorry.
I've never
Um,
knit a sock.
what?
No interest.
More power to you. Like, more power to you.
And then when people tell me it's addictive,
You're
that's
like,
the last thing I need to hear because I don't need another addiction.
oh my God. Yeah, I mean, it's truly, truly addictive. Like, truly. Stay far away, please.
I'm addicted to knitting sweaters. That's like a habit enough.
Yeah, but
I
a sock
I
is like,
love knitting sweaters. I really could use a shawl or two in my wardrobe, but it's like, no, I don't really want to knit a shawl. I like knitting sweaters. I like putting those pieces together. It's
hmm.
like the engineer in me,
Yeah,
like the building blocks and trying to get it to be like, Jenga not fall down.
yeah. There's nothing to engineer in a shawl that is well patterned, really. So, yeah, I get it. I made a Victorian lace like shawl thing and I really liked it. I really liked learning how to knit the border on, like knitting on the border at the end. But it didn't make me feel like the way a sweater feels, you know.
Like this sweater, like if I was going to a restaurant and I had this sweater on, I know there's going to be air conditioning and I'm going to be cold. So I really do need to have something to wrap myself in because I wouldn't put another sweater on top of this. I don't have the right sweater, and it's not a sweater set material, I don't think, because of this.
Mhm.
Maybe, I mean, maybe there could be a cardigan under here. I don't know.
But you
Um,
wouldn't want to cover up that beautiful. Yeah, it's the that's the showpiece. That's
well,
the
I think the collar, if
yeah.
there was a cardigan, I would have to have the collar come outside of the cardigan. I'd have to
Okay.
maybe design it so that this could be on the outside. And maybe that's, a project for another day. But it seems like easier to knit a shawl that could work with this and maybe something else.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you make a black shawl or like a cream colored shawl, I feel like that would go with a lot of stuff.
No, but I would want something not black for this.
Yeah. Yeah. A little matchy matchy.
Maybe like two whites, some texture or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do have my eye on one shawl,
Okay.
but sweaters always seem to like scream,
I
knit
know.
me.
Yeah, that's how this one was it was just like it's crazy. And I'm trying to be very good and I'm trying to weave in all the ends as I go. So there we go.
Oh, whoa. See, I don't do that because if I need to modify something, then it'd be
Yeah.
really hard to get out of that. So I always have that backup plan. But with Intarsia, like once you've committed to those little areas, you're probably not unpicking it.
I wanted to ask you actually because I know you've learned so much with the Rink and the Lynx sweater
Mm.
about like complex intarsia. Like this pattern, like obviously the hearts and the diamonds are very simple, but then with the other ones you have these like moments of Fair Isle. And they have been honestly giving me a bit of a hard time. And I was just wondering like if you have any tips for that. Like
Let,
how
let me
yeah.
see the back of those areas.
I've just been like carrying along like one.
Yeah, I probably would carry it too. But if well, you've done Fair Isle though, so
Yeah.
you have to like really give it a lot of extra yarn there so that it lies down smooth. Some of that may come out in the blocking, like you
Mm,
might be able to flatten it. Like my For the Rink or the Lynx, it's not really puckery. I mean, I do have some floats. Let me grab it so I can demonstrate that. One second.
mhm.
So I do have some stranding, like right
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
but it's certainly flat on this side. There's no puckering.
Yeah.
I tried to minimize the places where it's stranded, but sometimes it just made more sense.
Hmm.
Like to not have an extra bobbin for this little area. I already
Yeah.
had so many other bobbins. So I did, a little bit of stranding here and there as needed, but I made sure that I left, you know, good length of float.
That's
That's
it. Yeah.
stranding, but you have experience stranding. You've knit Fair Isle and you
Hmm.
didn't have a problem with those. So I'm not sure why you're having a problem with this.
It's just I think this boucle is like
Oh,
it's
well, that might be
boucle.
why. The texture of it.
Yeah. The
Well,
texture and then
the other option, which I don't know how it would be in boucle, is those like little teeny areas in between. I have another sweater that I could show you what I'm talking about. Hang on. Okay,
oh
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
this little area, I knitted it in here. I did that stranded, but on this one, I left that crisscrossy stuff out. I'm going to come back in and duplicate stitch. But
Okay.
this is smooth. The boucle, I don't know how it would be to duplicate stitch. You could swatch, you could try. Like I did on my sleeve. Which sleeve is it? On my sleeve. I did like a little
Oh.
sample duplicate stitch because I wanted to see how is it going to look, and it looks okay. It's
Yeah.
not like sticking out super thick. It sort of, blends in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if that would help you. You could swatch and see, is it good? But otherwise, just try and really like stretch it those few,
Mhm.
it's just a few stitches here and there for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And then block.
Hmm. I think I'm gonna do a mid project. I think I'm just gonna block this whole thing to see if it will be long enough for me, and then I'll see how it all comes out. Because the thing is, like, usually I would just, knit some more inches, but it would have to be a whole nother pattern repeat.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Or you cut at the bottom, pick up
Yeah.
and knit down.
Yeah.
Those are the options. I mean, I don't know if anybody has any other suggestions.
No, it's yeah, I mean we'll see what happens. I don't know. But
Okay.
yeah, that's all I have for y'all.
Okay, I was just gonna say anything else to this. This is great. I mean, we went on
Yeah.
really long time, but hopefully people are enjoying these seances.
Feel free to cut anything if you want. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thanks so much for spending this time with me. It's a beautiful day. I know you want to probably get outside. Well, thanks. Thanks for being a steady viewer of Show and Tell Knitting, Emma.
Of course. Thank you so
Lovely to
much for
have
having me.
Lovely to have a little extra time with you. And thanks for introducing yourself at the Met that
Of
night.
course.
All right, take care.